All right, so you're welcome back. In this short video, we'll be looking at even and odd function. So what is an even function and what is an odd function? So here, let's just look at this. Still dealing with the unit circle. And remember, let's assume you have a point here, which is a point P, x of what? Y. And we have this is our radius, which is we know is 1. And so let's call this one our, we can move a distance. We can move a distance of what? Of t, right? So let's say this is an arc. We move a distance of t here. And already we say that this is going to be also t, right? Remember, because we said our length of an arc is this. S is equals to what? R theta, but R is 1, so S is equals to theta, and you can say your S is equals to T, so this becomes our angle, right? So what that means is that each point here, this point which is X, remember what is going to be X? You can see that cosine T is what? Is just X. Y sine T is what? Is Y. So what that means is that this point is nothing but what? It's nothing but just cosine t and what? And sine of t. You see that? Okay. But now, one thing we can also see is that what? If we can go a distance of t, so here we are going this direction to this point, we can also come the same direction downward, right? So if this is t, this is going to be minus t. So it means you can have also this. And we can call here to be minus what? Minus t, right? But don't forget that this point is still going to be a point. So this is like our point P, because we are coming downward in this case. So this point is still a point on the, this is still a point now. This is our point P. It's still a point on the unit circle, right? Okay. So, you know, it's still going to be XY. But now, what is it going to be? It's just going to be cosine of what? Of minus t. So this point is going to be cosine of minus t. So it's just going to be cosine of minus t and what? And sine of minus t. This is what it's going to be, right? Okay. So this is, what is the difference? This one is going anti-clockwise. The positive one is going anti-clockwise. So that is why we have t positive. And clockwise, we have our t to be negative, right? Okay. So if you compare this and this, what can we say? So let's look at this now. Now, if you try to get the distance between these two, let's draw a line here. Okay. So you can see that the x values does not change. The values of x does not change, right? Because what is the x value here? The x value here is still the same. So it's still x, right? So you see, it means the x value is still the same. So it means that cosine, these two are the same. So cosine t and cosine minus t, they are the x value. So what do you mean by the x value? The x value is here. So the x value does not change. So this simply means that what? Cosine of t is the same thing as cosine of minus t, right? But if you look at what? Sine t, the y value, what is the y value? So for example, if this is y here, this is going to be what? Minus y. But the y value changes, right? So it simply means that what? We can see that what? Sine of t is the same thing as what? The same thing as, here you can see sine of minus t, right? The sine of minus t. So it's going to be, you have to add a minus here before they can be the same. Can we say that sine of t is the same thing as sine of minus t? No, they are not the same, right? So because this one, the one in the fourth quadrant, is going to be what? The negative of what? Of the y value in the first quadrant. So it means we need to have what? We need to have a negative somewhere. So we have to have a negative here before these two can be the same. So this is simply what we're talking about here. So let me just summarize this here. We can see the x values are the same. So cosine of t is the same thing as cosine of minus t, right? And we can see that what? The sine of t is not the same thing. You have to add a minus here, or you can have a minus here before you can say it is the same thing as sine of minus t. So from here, we can derive what we mean by even function. So even function simply means that cosine of t or cosine of minus t is the same thing as cosine of t. And this means that what? Sine of minus t is going to be minus sine of t. So this is where we got this from. So this is even function, right? But you can see that sine is what? Is an odd function. And once you've established that, you can establish the remaining, because sec is the what? Sec is the reciprocal of cosec of cosine. So it's also what? It's also going to follow the same thing, which is going to be even. But cosec is what? Is odd. Then tan is also odd, and cotan is also what? Is also odd. So now, how do we do this? If you look at example 2, for example 2, you will see you want to determine whether a function is even or odd or neither. So what we need to do here, you just need to try what is f of what? Minus x. So f of minus x is going to be, replace wherever you see x, replace with minus x, right? So what is this? Minus x squared will just become x squared. But we know that cosec is what? Is odd. So minus will come outside. So you have minus cosec of x. And this is what? This is simply minus, but recall that the whole of this is your f of x. So you have minus f of x, right? So what have we established? We've established that f of minus x is the same thing as minus f of x. So what is this? This implies that your function f of x is what? Is odd. Right. Okay. So for b, also, you just need to start with f of minus x. This is going to be cotan to power 3 of minus x over minus x. But we know that this is the same thing as saying cotan of minus x all to power 3 over minus x. But what is cotan? Cotan is odd. So since it is odd, this minus will come out. So it will become minus cotan of x, right? But everything to power 3 over minus x. Now, because the power is odd, the minus will still remain. So this is minus cot cube of x over minus x. Then the minus will go with minus. So we will have cotan cube of x only, right? But what is cotan cube of x? This is nothing but our f of x. So it simply means that we started with f of minus x, and we ended up having what? F of x. So this simply means that your f of x, which is equals to cotan cube of x over x, is what? Is even function. Right. Okay, then C, also we start with f of minus x. This is going to be sine of what? Minus x, cosine of minus x. But sine of minus x is going to be minus sine of x. Well, we know cosine is even, so the minus will not survive, so it's just cosine of x. And this is just going to be minus, but this is our f of x, right? So we have f of minus x equals to f of x. And this means that f of x is what? Is odd. Okay, so D, let's start with f of minus x. This will be cosec of minus x plus sec of minus x. Now, what is cosec? Okay, let's do. Cosec is what? Okay, let me just go here. Cosec is odd, so this will be minus cosec of minus x plus sec is even, so this is sec of x. All right, so now you can see that clearly this is not the same thing. Okay, now this minus should go out, so this will just become x. So you can see that this is not f of x. So you can see that f of minus x is not the same thing as f of x. You are not getting your f of x back. So we can say that f of x is not what? F of x is not even. All right. Now, is it odd? Let's see. If you have f of x equals to what? F of minus x already, we said it is cosine minus x plus sec of also minus x. Now, this is going to be minus cosec x plus sec x, right? So let's try to take a minus out. If you try to take a minus out, we are going to get cosec x, but here is going to become minus sec x. And you can see this is not the same thing as f of x. So here we can see that we cannot recover any of it back because this is not the same thing as f of x. So we can say that f of minus x is also not the same thing as minus f of x. So it means that what? F of x is not what? Is not odd. So with these two now, your conclusion should be f of x is neither even nor odd function. So this is the conclusion for this. So for example 3, you have that if f of x is this and g of x is this, which of this is true? So you just need to find both of them. So if you take f of x is x squared sine x over what? Sec cube of x. So you find f of minus x. This will be minus x all squared, then sine of minus x over what? Sec cube of minus x. Now, this is going to be x squared. Remember, sine is odd, so minus will come out here. Then you have sine x. Also, sec is odd, No, sec is even, right? So this is just going to the minus will go, so you have this one, right? And now this will become minus x squared sine x over, okay, I'm just repeating the same thing actually. So it means that f of minus x is going to be minus the whole of this one here is your f of x, which is the original function. So it means that the function f is what? Is odd. And here also we can find for g is already an odd function because it's cotan. So g minus x is just going to be cotan of minus x. So g of minus x is going to be minus cotan of x. So g of minus x is going to be minus g of x, right? So both f, g is also odd. So both f and g are odd function. All right. Example 4. We check f. What is f? F of x is 3 plus cosine 3x, cosine of x. So f of minus x is going to be 3 plus cosine of minus x. And now we know that cosine is even, so the minus will go. So we have f of minus x is equals to f of x. Therefore, f is even, right? Then for g, the same story here. G of x is x sine square of x. So g of minus x is minus x sine squared of minus x. So g of minus x is equals to, we know the sign is odd, but here we have to be careful. Sign is odd, we know, but because the power is even, the power is square. So this is going to be, let me write it here. This is going to be, this is the same thing as sine minus x all squared, right? So this is going to be minus sine. We know sine is odd, so minus is supposed to come out. So it's going to be minus sine x, but there is a square up, and that square will consume the negative. So this is minus sine x, then the square will be back. So this is the g of minus x, and this is nothing but minus, this is the original function, which is g of x. So you can see that g is what? Is also odd. G is odd, while f is what? Is even. Okay. Then example 5. Now example 5 is just for us to see one of the importance of this even and odd function. Is that when we want to evaluate trig functions, we can just go straight ahead. We can just go straight ahead and use the fact that if a function is even, we know what to do. If a function is odd, we know what to do. All right, now to solve this type of question, here we want to find the exact value of cosine. We know cosine is what? Cosine is odd. Since cosine is even, so we don't care about this negative. This is just still going to be cosine of what? 7 pi over 6, right? And now we can use our reference angle. What is 7 pi over 6? 7 pi over 6 should be in, I think, in the third quadrant, right? So this should be in quadrant 3. And we know that in quadrant 3, cosine is negative. So this will be minus cosine. Then we have to do 7 pi by 6. Then we have to subtract what? We have to subtract pi, right? Because we are in the third quadrant. Now this is just going to be minus cosine 7 pi over 6. This is just going to be pi over 6, right? So this is going to be minus cosine pi over 6 is root 3 over 2. and then we're done with this one. So here we just use the fact that what? We started with the fact that cosine is even. Similarly for B, we will use the fact that sine is what? Is odd. So you can just take the minus out. So we have sine 7 pi over 4. Now we use our reference angle theorem. 7 pi over 4 is in which quadrant? 7 pi over 4, this should be in, I think this should be in like in the fourth quadrant. Yes. Now, how do we check? We can check. This is 3 pi over 2, right? So we just need to compare 7 over 4 and what? 3 over 2. If you compare 7 over 4 and 3 pi over 2, you see you cross multiply. This will give us 14, and this will give us 12. So it means that 7 over 4 is bigger than 3 over 2. So it's going to be in the fourth quadrant, as I earlier said. So now we know it's in the fourth quadrant. And we know that in the fourth quadrant, sine is what? Sine is negative, right? Since sine is negative, remember we have a negative here. So this is going to be another negative will have to come out. So this will be negative. Then sine in the fourth quadrant, this is going to be 2 pi minus 7 pi over 4, right? And this minus minus now will make it plus. So this is just going to be sine of 2 pi. So this is just going to be pi over 4, right? And this is nothing but root 2 over 2. Right. So for cotan as well, cotan is also odd. So minus will come out. So we just have cotan 5 pi over 6. So this is in which quadrant now? This is going to be in quadrant 2. Because 5 over 6, you see 5 over 6 is less than 1. So it's going to make pi to be smaller. So this will be in the second quadrant. And in second quadrant, we know that what? Cotan is negative. So it's going to be negative, then another negative. Then cotan now in second quadrant is going to be pi minus 5 pi over 6, right? So this minus minus will make it positive. So this is just cotan of pi over 6, right? And cotan pi over 6 is the same thing as tan pi over 3, which is simply root of 3. Then sec, okay, this one is just sec, we know it's even, so, and there is no negative here, so we can just go directly. This is 11 over 6. 11 over 6 is in which quadrant? 11 over 6, I think this is going to be in like in the fourth quadrant, yes. So we can just apply reference directly. So this is still going to be sec 2 pi minus 11 pi over 6. And this will be just sec pi over 6, right? What is sec pi over 6? Sec pi over 6 is the same thing as what? It's the same thing as sec 30, right? Same thing as sec 30. Remember, what is sec 30? We know cosine 30 is root 3 over 2. So this is going to be 2 over root 3, which we can rationalize. And we will have 2 root 3 all over 3. All right. So anytime you were asked to find the exact value, if you have negative angles, just use the fact sine or even function. So sine is odd. Only cosine and sec are even. The rest are odd, just to make the work faster. All right. So that will be the end of this video. We'll have the next one. Thank you for watching.